So people say, if you think the bankers are going to rig the vote to fail anyway, so why make this video? Well, number one, um, I would like to emphasize the fact that there should be exit polls for this Swiss Gold referendum on November 30th, because exit polls can tell if a vote's being rigged, because usually the margin of error between the exit polls and the final results is greater than one. I believe it's 1.5%. Like when the U.S. goes and monitors other votes overseas, they say if it's the margin of error is greater than 1.5%. Not positive off the top of my head if that's the mark, but it's some small margin, then it's rigged. So if like 60% of the country say yes, and they come out in the exit polls, and they come out and the vote says, oh, only 30% voted yes and 70% voted no, then we know it's rigged. So that's important. So perhaps this video will help emphasize the importance of having exit polls at this vote. Number two, as I'll explain later anyways, that this vote is much more important to just the Swiss. It's important to the freedom of the entire world, and I will explain exactly why. Because again, you can see that everyone that is working for the bankers is always working against the people of the country that they're employed in. And even though Thomas Jordan revealed that 20% of Switzerland's gold is held with the Bank of England and 10% with the Bank of Canada, when the finance minister of Switzerland, I believe her name is Evelyn Widmar-Schlumpf, and again, if I'm mangling that name, forgive me for that, but this is what she said when she was asked where Switzerland's gold was held. She said, where the gold exactly is stored, I cannot say, because I do not know, because I do not need to know, and because I do not want to know. So that implies that she doesn't want to know, probably because it's gold, and it's been sold off by the other central banks. And the other important point to note, one other important point about that chart is that when you saw the Swiss franc, when it was still backed by unofficially by 18% of gold, and what was soaring against the euro, and then bankers intervened and said we have to stop this and we have to slam and devalue the price of the purchasing power of the Swiss franc. That was going on because gold serves as a weather vane for economic strength and for inflation. So the fact that the Swiss franc was soaring against the other currencies of the world, that meant there's massive inflation happening in the other currencies in the world. So they also wanted to stop the rise of the Swiss franc, because then people will understand the importance of gold as money. So that's also why they had to slam and devalue the value of the Swiss franc. So let me give you a little bit of background about the history of the Swiss franc. So prior to 1999, the Swiss franc was officially bound to gold. It was officially bound to gold. And the percent of gold backing that backed the Swiss franc in 1999 was 43%. Now, remember that, because I'm going to tell you what it is today. Tell you how the bankers have ruined the future of the Swiss since 1999. So in 1992, the Swiss joined the International Monetary Fund. If you join an international banking organization, they're always going to destroy the wealth of the people. So they mandated, this cannot be anymore. You cannot, even though that was in the Swiss constitution at that point, they said you cannot tie so much of the money in Switzerland to gold. So they began degrading the gold. They took that provision out where it was able to be degraded. And you see this going on over and over and over in the world. Like all the countries NATO has invaded are countries that were not members of the Bank for International Settlements, because they want to bring them in to this immoral banking cabal so that they can control all the money in their country. So if you look at the countries that NATO had invaded in the past 5 years, like Libya, Somalia, they wanted to invade Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran was spoken of at one point. But these are all countries that are not part of the Bank for International Settlement. So that's the reason for war. Money is always behind all wars. And so when you look at what is going on today with the degradation of gold backing Switzerland, so remember, 43% officially backed in 1999 after they joined the IMF, then it fell to 18% by 2009, and today, 2014, it's 7.8% backed. That's all, 7.8% backed by gold. Now, the reason why this is important, because, as I said, the referendum would return it to being 20% backed, at least 20% of assets backing Swiss francs in the Swiss National Bank. So that again would make it the strongest currency, paper fiat currency in the world. And what that would do if that vote passed would encourage Russia and China to move even faster because they are moving towards a gold-backed system of international trade as well, where it's going to be the petro-yuan and it's going to be gold that is a key component of all their international trading. So again, the BRICS nations, half the world's population lives within the BRICS nations, and you also have other countries at the EU join the BRICS nations in their new financial system. Like Germany will depart, I'm pretty sure. You look at certain countries in Asia, like South Korea, even Japan, if that's a U.S. colony. When you look at their banking system, how the Bank of Japan has destroyed the yen. If you get any honest prime minister in there, they will probably depart too and leave the U.S. dollar-based system and join the BRICS as well. Because I can't see how Japan is not going to be dependent, just as as South Korea will be on Russia's energy reserves. So they will need to join that new financial system. So this is important to everyone because it's going to reveal all the fraud. Because if it compels China and Russia to act more quickly and to move more quickly towards a new financial system, because they're going to have competition. Think about this. If the Swiss franc is 20% backed by gold again, they are going to have competition with the new financial system that they are devising now. So it will push them and compel them to move more quickly to get all their ducks in a row so they can move to their gold-backed petro-yuan based system. And why is that? That's positive for everyone in the world, because what is going on with these currency wars is that everyone's savings is being destroyed. I mean, if you watched part of my if you follow me on Twitter, I think I posted something from, I think it was a bank in New Zealand, either a bank in New Zealand or Australia, that actually advertised 0% interest rates for 10 different currency savings accounts. And they were proud of the fact that they're offering 0% interest, because they say some of our competitors are offering negative interest rates. This is the destruction that is going on by these bankers, and it needs to be stopped. So this is the importance of the Swiss gold referendum. Okay, so that's it for today. Oh, one last point I want to make. I want to say that because I have a team that takes care of all my social media. So, they go through all the comments on YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn and whatnot, and usually respond to that. If I respond to anything, I'll say this is JS or this is John, so you'll know. But they mentioned to me that some people recently unsubscribed from my YouTube channel because they said, oh, we were blocking your comments. Now, we don't censor anyone, okay? We don't censor any comments, but YouTube censors a lot of people's comments. So when a lot of people make comments that expose the truth about the criminality of the banking system, those comments get censored, because I asked them how many comments were in the spam box on our YouTube channel now, and they said over 449 comments right now got sent. YouTube sent it directly to spam, and I said, well, what are these comments? Well, they say some are just have a lot of profanity, and I guess YouTube flags that or something, it goes to spam. But they said others are just like, yeah, the Rothschild banking cartel is ruining the world and stuff like this, and it goes to spam. So it's not me. So I said, what's the most ridiculous comment that someone made? Someone said, oh, I'm unsubscribing because obviously you're an agent of the Rothschilds because you won't let me say what I want to say on your comment section. So if you're making a reason, I told my my social media staff, don't censor anything just because people disagree with me, or as long as it's a valid comment. I said if it's not a valid comment, then just don't censor it, but reply to it. But if it's a valid comment and it's everyone has opinions, so that's okay, right? If you disagree with me, if you don't, if you agree with me, as long as you bring it in a respectful manner. So that's cool. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, remain intensely curious, and please pass this video on to everyone.